with that, welcome back to the SighSquadPod.
You don't know what that's from?
No.
Oh, mijo.
I'm assuming some wrestling thing.
Go for it, Ben.
Yeah. So, welcome back. We started. That's the intro. You're gonna be singing in it.
Heck yeah.
How's everybody doing?
Wow.
Good.
Well, I was good until Brendan told me he didn't know what that was from.
I was good until about 9:30. But I'm doing better.
Doing better.
Doing better.
You know who isn't doing good?
Who?
Andrew Luck.
No, he's doing fantastic, actually. Yeah.
But he's not playing football anymore.
But now he gets to live his life. He gets to travel the world.
That's true.
He's a millionaire. He doesn't have to work for it.
All right,
Well,
never mind.
Exactly.
Colts though. Colts aren't doing good now.
No.
No.
They ran out of luck for sure.
You know,
Yeah. See, I'm funny.
I'm still gonna be optimistic for the Colts.
So am I.
Like,
Well, no, they got a good defense, and they got
good
Jacoby
defense.
Brissett is okay replacement.
I think that division is now, I think, more interesting. Because, obviously, before you probably could have guessed the Colts probably would have won that division.
well,
But-
I feel like they still had to go against the Texans. Like, Texans are still a strong team.
But they're so dysfunctional.
Yeah, and then I don't know how Jacksonville's going to be this year. Jacksonville could be a decent team this year with Foles and Fournette penalties running amazing, and any of those South teams could take that division. I think.
Yeah. I see it.
There's actually, and I think there's actually with those teams, I think there's a good chance in the AFC at least that there could be a couple teams fighting for those wild card spots because. Let's say the Jags take the division, you could have the Texans or the Colts contend for the AFC wildcard spot.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's just crazy because I could see, like, I know it wouldn't happen, like, statistically, but, like, even all four of those teams in the AFC South. Because, like, the Titans, if everything goes right for them, I could see them being, like, a 9-7 team, 8-8 team, and sneaking into the playoffs.
Well, I don't think so in the AFC because you have three potential playoff teams in the South, and you also have three potential in the North with the Steelers, the Browns, and the Ravens.
Yeah, but I don't think the Steelers and the Ravens are going to do that good this year.
I think the Ravens are going to be okay.
But that's the thing is, like, I can see the Ravens going 9-7 like the Titans, you know, and then...
But the Steelers, I mean, they lose, obviously, Antonio Brown, but they still have Juju and James Conner. It's not like they're bad pieces.
That's true.
They're basically the same people as AB and...
But it
Like
just
that.
seems like we've been seeing a lot of regression on the defensive side of the
Steelers'
ball.
defense is just
I
falling
I mean,
apart.
but they drafted Devin Bush.
Yeah.
But it just, I feel like the Steelers' problem isn't necessarily even regression, it's just they're always hurt. Like, somebody on their defense is always hurt, like one of their starters. Like, Joe Hayden was hurt last year. The year before that, it was their defensive end, Hayward.
I think
So there's just seemingly always a guy in their defense, like a main contributor, that's always hurt.
And plus, they're still being ran by Ben Roethlisberger,
yeah.
who is the same guy who, you know, threw the same amount of picks as Nathan Peterman.
Yeah.
Nathan Peterman. Now, does that say something about Ben Roethlisberger or Nathan Peterman, though?
Both.
Well, the number was
They're both
5
bad.
in a game, so
That's pretty good.
Wasn't that against the Ravens' defense?
No, it's just the Jags.
Oh.
Jags.
I think I started Ben Roethlisberger that week in fantasy.
yeah,
I
you
was
were
pissed.
pissed.
But the
You were
Jags
pissed.
defense is good though.
And Nick
Yeah.
who was who you were playing against, started the Jags defense.
We don't
Yeah.
discuss that person.
Oh,
But see,
undisclosed.
the AFC is also interesting because in the West you have the Chargers and Chiefs for their division. Those both could be
Hey,
playoff teams.
I
don't
feel
forget
like-
about those Broncos
No.
with Joe
No.
Flacco.
No,
But the
I
Chargers.
really think I think this is the Chargers' year to take that division.
I
I think
think.
it's their year to take the
I
AFC.
I
I
think
think it's
I
Browns,
think they need
Chargers.
Melvin Gordon though to take the AFC.
I think they need Melvin Gordon to take the division.
So
Because Glass Cannon works through the regular season. If they score 40, you just score 42.
Yeah, but Austin Eckler's a good backup.
and don't they have another rookie who's been really good too?
Yeah.
I don't know his name. Some Jonathan or John.
And plus, they have the third Watt brother. They have TJ Watt,
That's true.
right?
No,
Is
no,
that
Derek
his name?
Watt.
Derek Watt. Derek Watt.
TJ's on the Steelers.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. But and also that passing offense
Yeah,
with
Phillip
Keenan
Rivers.
Allen, Phillip Rivers,
Mike Williams.
Mike Williams.
Hunter Henry's back.
Hunter Henry's back.
Hunter Henry, I feel like may take the NFL by storm this year again, like he did a few
Hopefully.
seasons ago. Because like he's actually just kind of a good athlete in general, and I really want to see him do well.
Yeah.
Mostly because I also just kind of don't like any of the other teams in the division.
Why not? What's wrong with them?
Well, Broncos suck, and when they were good, they were a playoff rival. The Chiefs, I think, are too overhyped. And also, glass cannon. Defenses win championships. And plus, the Raiders are just the crazy train.
What about the AFC East? Do you think that any of the other teams,
Who's in the AFC East?
Patriots, Dolphins, Jets,
Okay.
Bills?
Mike, I'm calling it right now. Bills and Jets are not going to finish anything worse than 8-8.
I guess
The Jets won't finish
one of
worse
those
than
two, I
8-8.
think, will finish 8-8. I'm not sure which one. It could be either one.
And
I
that's
don't
where
think the
I'm-
Bills do. I think the Bills may finish 6-7, and that would be, or not 6-7.
6 and 7.
6 and
6 and 9.
6 and 9.
Ha.
I was gonna say 6 or 7 wins, but anyways, because they do have a strong defense,
Yeah.
but that offense is still a question mark with a Shady.
And
But Shady gets injured all the time.
But they have Frank Gore.
that is true.
They do have Frank Gore, so
But
Shady's
who are their
gonna
wide
have
receivers?
his
They got Cole Beasley. That's who they have.
Zay
well,
Jones, still, I
and Zay
think.
Jones, but
I mean,
Didn't they add somebody else, though?
I thought they had a third one. Somebody, Allen, no, not Allen Robinson.
No,
Dante
no.
Moncrief? No.
no,
No.
Dante Moncrief's on the Steelers.
Actually, I think he's still in the Jags.
I think it's still.
No, according to Madden.
They have Ray.
What a player.
Yeah.
So definitely the Jets are going to be the ones that go more than 8.
Jets.
The Jets are a team that I could see ending up with a wild card spot.
I was
but-
hoping you were going to
let's
say
see.
ending up taking the
All,
Patriots
imagine
spot
think
in
of
the
all the other
playoffs.
teams I just listed. They could be in about a wild card spot.
I feel like if it comes down to it, the Jets. I feel like we have to look at the seasons for these teams, because to be fair, I don't think we're gonna see 3 AFC South teams.
No.
Because
We're
they
gonna
all
see
have to
one.
play each other twice.
But
Yeah.
that's what happens in the NFC almost every year with the NFC South.
Yeah.
With the Saints, Panthers, and Falcons.
Yeah, they all play each other. I mean, the Saints won most of the games last year. So.
Yeah, the Saints typically do, but, like, most years, all 3 of those teams could be
Wild
in the playoffs.
But
Yeah.
with the AFC having so many like contenders for that wild card spot, and when it does come down to, it's going to come down to divisional games. I feel like the Jets may have the edge because they get to play the Dolphins and the Bills twice a year. In comparison to any of the AFC South teams,
That's
where it's
true.
a toss up.
Couldn't you say that's be the said for the Dolphins too? Because the Dolphins
I don't think the Dolphins.
Dolphins are just bad.
They're not going to be the worst team in the NFL,
Really?
but they're
No.
not going to make
Really,
the
you guys
playoffs.
don't think they're going to be the worst team?
No.
No.
Who's going to be the worst?
Buccaneers, maybe.
Bucks. It's gonna be Bucks.
Really?
It's probably going to be the Bucs.
They
'Cause-
just brought back, they brought in Bruce Arians to try to fix it.
I
See,
mean-
it'll either work really well, and they will still miss the playoffs, and then fire Bruce Arians because they're just upset, or it's not going to work at all, and they're going to fire Bruce Arians because they're upset.
I'm trying to think. Detroit's gonna be bad. I bet they're always bad.
Yeah.
But they're never horrible.
Honestly, I could see Detroit. I feel like a team that we might not be talking about
A
that could be
sleeper team?
horrendous is actually a team that's gonna hope that a Super Bowl champion can actually turn their team around in the Broncos.
Denver Broncos. Yeah, I can see.
No,
it.
I
can
don't
definitely
think
see it. I can see them win 4 games and just bottom out.
Because
They got some
Who?
weapons, though.
Who?
the
Well-
offense is gonna score more touchdowns for the other team than themselves.
They have
Not
a decent
necessarily.
receiving core. They got Emmanuel Sanders. They got Noah Fant.
Cortland Sutton.
Cortland Sutton.
They got
and then their
Philip
run.
Lindsay and Royce
Yeah, I was
Freeman.
gonna say their run game. They arguably have the best 1-2 running back duo in the NFL. Because the worst case scenario is you have Royce Freeman as your running back and put Philip Lindsay in the slot. You know.
I don't know, but we're trying to think what team will be worse than the Broncos then?
So are we talking like wild card teams that their season could just
No,
totally
we're talking
derail?
about worst team in the NFL. That's what we're
So
talking.
I could see the Cardinals doing it
I can see the Cardinals doing it too.
just because they literally have nothing around Kyler Murray. Like,
I could see
David
it being the
Johnson,
49ers.
Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah, but look at that offensive line. Like I know
No,
Kyler
those are-
Murray's.
Giants
Giants.
could definitely be the worst team. in the
But I
division.
could also see them being the sleeper good team where Daniel Jones comes in like week 5, to replace Eli Manning, and then boom,
But
they
if-
have a 6-2 record in the
if
year.
if they're the good, if they do good though, with one of those with the Redskins,
They'd be the
Redskins are going to be
Redskins.
bad. Redskins, Case Keenum
Right.
is not going to build.
Yeah, Redskins. But then again, they do also have Dwayne Haskins, which I mean,
But-
again,
I mean, usually teams that like do this back and forth quarterbacks usually don't turn out very well.
that's true.
So, what teams are we talking about? So, we're talking about the Redskins,
Bucks,
Bucks.
Giants,
Cardinals.
Cardinals, Oakland.
I don't.
Yeah, let's put Oakland in there. Then you can put the Broncos in there if you want, because Oakland's in there.
If we put Oakland in there,
Yeah,
so,
that's our list though. Those are some. That's gonna be scraping the bottom
So,
of the barrel
and
right there.
if we have the Dolphins in the mix, so
Yeah.
the Dolphins have to play the Patriots twice a year.
They always win one though.
They always win.
They
one.
always win one.
Yep. But if the Jets are scary, there's the thing. If the Bills' defense is scary, like it's looking like the Bills' secondary, like low key may be like
Yeah.
a top 10 secondary
I
in the
mean,
league.
Tre'Davious White's a great corner. Poyer and Hyde on safety positions.
I think
Like-
their problem is they don't have any depth at their
Yeah.
at their cornerback especially.
It's pretty much Tre'Davious White,
Yeah.
and then whoever they can find that's fast.
Exactly.
But still, it's not a bad second overall. They got
Yeah.
3 good pieces.
The thing with the Redskins and the Giants is they have to play against Dallas, who became a top 10 defense and also has a really consistent, well, not consistent, but a pretty solid offense.
If Zeke plays,
Yep. And then the Eagles, they have to play them twice a year, which the
The
Eagles
Eagles will be good this
may
year.
have high key the best team on paper.
yeah.
Well, I think in that case, then you have to put the Lions on there because then you look at the NFC North is probably the hardest division to win in.
Yeah, because honestly, 3 of the teams could win that division. I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of the same with the South, but
Yeah.
I personally, I don't trust the Packers. Like, I think the Packers aren't. Really
I don't think they're
contender.
stable enough.
I think
But
they are.
I think
feel
it's
like
definitely a
stable.
You know what the
Viking.
Packers are going to end up
Bears.
doing, though? The
What?
Packers will knock off games from the Vikings because the Vikings can't find a way to beat the Packers. It's been the same way for
We
years.
haven't lost to the Packers since 2016.
Ooh, called out.
Vikings have won the last 7 games against the Packers that they've played.
oh no, one
Call
was
it
a
out.
tie.
Sorry. One of them was a tie.
That-
The Packers will knock off one game from the Bears.
But that's what I mean, though. It seems like, for some reason, in the division itself, every year the divisional record against the divisional teams is 1-1.
Yeah,
Like,
everybody takes one and loses one.
yeah,
Except
exactly.
for the Lions. The Lions don't usually win.
Yeah, that's true. So that's why I feel like the Lions, because like the Packers have a better defense than they did last year.
Yeah, we got
Like-
Adrian Amos, both the Smiths, Preston.
So
and
you look at it, the Bears, Lions, Bears, Vikings, Packers defenses, I feel like are more dramatically better than the Lions' offense can handle.
Yeah. And I think the Lions probably have the worst defense and probably the worst offense in the
Yeah.
in the
in the division.
yeah. Like, I mean, sorry, Matt Stafford, you got kind of nothing.
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
If you look at the strength of schedule for for this year, the top 5 hardest, I guess, people that have the hardest schedule is the Raiders, the Broncos, the Jags,
Yeah, so the Broncos are
Texans,
leading the bad.
Bears, Chiefs, and then Falcons, Colts. The Titans,
Titans are-
they're up there. They have the ninth
What are
hardest
some of the
schedule.
weakest ones? What are the easiest schedules?
The easiest schedule is the Redskins, and then tied. This is no fair. Tied the Patriots and the Rams, and then the Jets and the Giants
And the Bengals.
So, I really think it's the Buccaneers. Looking at the schedules,
I
they have
mean,
about a
or the
middle-
Redskins. I can see the Redskins winning 2 games.
But the Redskins have one of the easiest schedules in the
still,
season.
they're the Redskins.
It's-
They're going to lose all the divisional games.
but the
pretty
Redskins actually might be scary on defense this year.
much. With who?
Yeah, with who?
With who?
With who?
Yeah.
It's the.
I mean,
with
they-
who?
What's his name?
They do have a
Oh,
few
you can't even
playmakers.
name
Jonathan
somebody else?
Norman?
No.
Overrated?
No. The safety.
Yeah, they signed Clinton
Nope.
Dix.
No,
didn't they?
not anymore.
Nope.
He
was on the Giants. Was really
Landon
good.
Collins.
Yeah, Landon Collins.
Yeah, that's who it was.
Yeah.
I feel like Landon Collins could be a push that they need, especially because they have.
I think he's gonna be a good player.
Here's
on
the
that
thing.
team.
I think if Trent Williams comes back,
Yeah.
he comes back, I think they could be a decent team. Only because at that point they have a decent offensive line, to the point where you could probably run the ball a lot more than you pass.
Case Keenum.
Yeah, but Adrian, look at their running backs.
Look at their wide receivers. Who's Case Keenum throwing to?
Tyler Boyd. No,
He's
that's
on the Bengals. Wrong team.
Who do they have? They have Paul Richardson from the Seattle.
That's Paul. That's
And then
one.
Jordan Reed.
Nope. Concussion out
Vernon
for the year.
Davis.
Retired.
Retired.
I mean, not.
Yeah, you're.
Vernon Davis did not retire.
Please hold.
Vernon Davis did not retire.
No, yeah, he's not retired.
Oh.
All right, I guess
Will
Vernon
retired.
Davis. Jordan Reed's out with concussion.
Washington Redskins receivers. But just like I said, look at their running backs. They have Adrian Peterson, Darius Geis, Samaje Perine, Chris Thompson, and Bryce Love.
Yeah, so if you would have drafted one of those Redskins running backs, you're dumb. We're trying to trade for him. You're dumb.
That's foreshadowing, man.
I know. Who else do they have?
I mean, they have Josh Doxson.
Oh yeah, what's his name? Cole McCoy.
yeah. You're mad and messed up, and
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But anyway, Brendan does have a point. Their defense is decent. So they have Laurinaitis, the guy that they drafted. Like, the last 3 years, they've invested in their defensive line. So at least
They actually released one of those guys not too long ago.
they lost Zach Brown.
They lost Zach Brown, but I mean, they still have Ryan Kerrigan coming off the edge. Ryan Kerrigan's probably one of the most underrated linebackers in the NFL.
That's what I was trying to
But they lost their sack leader though.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like the Redskins' defensive line is so good because, like I said, they've invested their first-round picks the last 3 years in defensive linemen. So I mean,
It's still not like I mean,
don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're a top 10, even top 15. What I mean is, like, I could definitely see them making Army for like a 6-10 team instead of like a 2-12 or a 2-14 team. That's my case for him.
So you know where Zach Brown ended up?
where?
The Eagles.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The Eagles have such a ridiculous defense.
Oh yeah.
They definitely have the potential if they can.
But here's the thing:
If
their
the defense
secondary is
put-
horrible.
Oh no, they
No,
got Malcolm
it's not
Jenkins
really.
and they
They have
have
Malcolm
Ronald
Jenkins.
Darby's a good corner.
But that's the thing is outside.
Sidney Jones.
No, because that's the thing is their cornerbacks last year they had like the 27th ranked cornerbacks like graded out because their depth behind those guys are horrible.
That's true.
Like they're absolutely horrible.
I think didn't they tried to trade for some cornerbacks.
That's the thing is that was their problem. They didn't get anybody because they had Patrick Robinson the year that they won the Super Bowl. Then they lost him because that's what made that secondary so good. Is they had Malcolm Jenkins, Terrence Robinson, and Ronald Darby. So I mean, it was a good duo.
That's fair.
But
we're talking about Andrew Luck.
Yeah, so where did that come? Oh yeah.
We're excited for football, people. Don't judge us.
So we kind of talked about the preseason.
Yeah.
What we think about
we
it.
talked about football a lot.
We love football.
Do you know that college football is back?
Yeah. Michael Irvin is very, very hyped for it.
For Miami.
Yeah.
To be fair, Miami did play like really well the past.
Didn't they lose to Florida State the last second
I think so.
in that game?
I'm pretty sure they lost. I know they lost.
I saw the Florida State thing at the very end.
Oh, it was the game before that. They did really well.
Who do you guys think is going to win
game.
the championship this year? I think it's either going to be Clemson
Or Bama?
or Bama
Whoa!
Is
or
Bama.
Georgia or
Okay.
Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's
So Oklahoma actually,
throwing Ohio State, and those I guarantee you'll be one of those people.
Oh no, sorry. Ohio State is actually interesting.
Whoa. The Ohio State.
Yeah, you do got to get that one.
The
The
Ohio,
Ohio State University.
The Ohio.
So O State.
The
Ohio
State
State fact.
University.
Yeah.
They've been without a championship for a while.
Yeah, but don't they usually do like
They
always
borderline?
They always have like crazy good players, and they always do really well at draft. But they haven't had a championship in a while.
I mean, I guess you could technically say
I only know this
UCF.
because of QB1 mode and Madden 20.
Huh. I'm not getting that game. But, yeah. So, it's back.
Yeah.
Excited.
You guys hyped? I'm kind of hyped.
I don't know. It has to be a game I'm interested in.
I feel like I watched more this year.
It takes. I don't. In the beginning, it takes a while. Like mid-season,
Yeah.
I get more interested in it because then those guys that are actually performing are performing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're in their stride.
It's fun to watch at the end of the season too because you like my team's interested in drafting that guy and watching him play. You know.
Yeah. Wow.
Well,
You know who else has a future in their
Every-
sport? The low leagues, World Series people.
Oh yeah.
Jeez, we're only talking about 2
Yeah.
sports this week.
Yeah.
So, the Southwest, which includes the Southwest region of the United States, like Louisiana and Georgia,
Alabama.
Alabama,
Bama.
though,
Bama.
that area, they beat the Caribbean,
There you go. Bama.
Caribbean,
Bama's
however
winning
you
the
wanna say.
NCAA championship.
to 8-0
Shutout.
in the World Series.
Damn. Good for the little kids.
Yeah,
No, not good for little kids.
very good.
Ben, why aren't you playing in the Little League World Series?
I'm too good. They said I gotta go to the
Are they
MLB.
checking your juice boxes for steroids?
They told me to go up to the MLB and I told them no when I threw my juice box at them.
Well, you can hang out with Tebow then.
Oh. All right, sign me Mets. Just DM me.
Yeah, maybe the Mets would have won tonight if they had you, Ben.
Sure. Are the Mets bad? Are they always bad?
They're
aren't they?
okay.
They had a 10-game win streak.
You had to make a playoff
Are the
push.
Twins still doing good? I know we're
Yeah.
in jump
Yeah,
all
they
over
just
the
won
place.
tonight.
Yeah, the Minnesota Twins. I think their lead is back up to 4 games.
3 games, 3.5 games.
3.5. Okay.
Yep. And then in the East, it's the Yankees by 10. In the West, it's the Astros by 10. So I think the most interesting in the AL is definitely that Twins-Indians race.
Oh yeah, easily, without a doubt.
It has both Twins and Cleveland fans just kind of shaking in their boots.
And then the Central and the National League between the Cardinals and the Cubs, that's a 3-game as well.
The interesting about that is the Cardinals and the Cubs are like bloodthirsty rivals. They always have been.
Other than that, the Braves are ahead in their division by 7 games. And then in the West, they're above by... the Dodgers are above by 20.
Well, this is the crazy thing when you look at the National League, is the fact that you look, there is realistically, for the 2 wild card spots, there is 1, 2... there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8, and maybe 9 teams that are battling for 2 playoff spots right now for the wild cards.
That's crazy.
And there's only like 30. I actually think there's like 24 games left in the season.
So
What?
who's gonna win? Who's gonna be?
I have no idea. I think the Diamondbacks might. Just as kind of a sleeper.
Do you think the Twins could win the Piston Cup?
He did what in his cup?
No, the Piston Cup, the championship game. You know, the final game of the
Then
Fantasy
Yeah.
League year.
But they don't even win cups and they don't win trophies in the World Series. They
Yeah.
win pennants.
No, that's in your that's in your league game. You
What?
win the
Oh.
What?
you win a pennant if you win like the American League.
versus the National League.
No,
You get a
no.
trophy if you win the World Series.
Yes,
don't you?
yes.
No,
Because when you win the World Series, it's the best American League versus the best National League. You win a pennant the game, so the series before the World Series, you win
AFC champion, NFC champion. That
exactly.
Okay.
You win the
It's-
National
it's-
League pennant or the American League pennant.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what you win.
I was kidding. The trophy's actually really cool.
It's probably the coolest trophy out of any trophy. Not gonna lie, it's huge.
Every time they come out with the World Series hats, I really want to get a Cubs World Series hat actually because they always put the trophy on it.
So what's going on with Bryce Harper?
He's Bryce Harper. He's, first name Bryce, last name Harper. He plays baseball.
He got all that hype.
The problem is, I think the Phillies themselves were overhyped because they made a lot of moves. Because they traded for T.J. Realmuto. They brought in Gene Segura. They brought in Andrew McCutchen. But that team was trying to win almost on name talent, if anything. And it just didn't really formulate. I think Bryce Harper's problem is the fact that he got paid, so now he was expecting himself to do great, so he put that pressure on himself, and then it didn't work. So then he got in his own head, and it's just a constant battle. I'm supposed to do better than this, but I'm not. So,
I get that.
Plus, baseball literally is the game of runs and streaks. Like, it really is. I think Brendan said with the Mets on their 10-game winning streak. Like, the Mets out of nowhere, they were supposed to be sellers at the trade deadline. They traded for Marcus Stroman from Toronto, and then they won 10 games and instantly back in the playoff run. Well, that was crazy. Like, it just shows that runs are just, huge in baseball, and that's just what kind of happens with players, is they get really cold, but then they get really hot. Then they get really cold, and then they get really hot. Like, the Twins are another example of this. Like, the Twins, before the All-Star break, their team was easily the best in baseball because we were hitting home runs, we were getting runs, and our pitching was good, but now all of our pitchers are pitching bad. Like, it's just a game of runs and streaks, and right now our run isn't the best because our pitching is so streaky right now. So, I don't know. I think Bryce Harper just got in his own head, and it's really affecting him.
Do you think he can still be good for this team?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a 15-year contract. I mean...
It's got a while.
Yeah. And plus, I think it is one of those things, too, where when you do look at it from a standpoint of what team you're on, again, I think it just goes with the expectations. Because, let's say he does this on the Nationals, the team he played for the last few years, I mean, so his career. He does this on the Nationals, it doesn't look as bad because, his contract's not, saying...
Right.
But, I mean, it still looks bad for him, but, since he's owed so much money...
It doesn't look as bad.
Yeah. Or it looks worse because he's owed so much money right now.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
It's kind of like in the NFL when you talk about how bad Kirk Cousins is, and then you realize he's worth $84 million guaranteed,
Which, and that's the thing, but even you look at, Kirk Cousins' numbers from last year, Kirk Cousins' numbers weren't bad, but they're just not worth $84 million.
No, it's not $84 million good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, you put him on the Nationals, I think nobody's freaking out at this point. He's just having a little slump, he'll break out of it. But since he's owed, $35 million, everybody's he's not worth $35 million right now. So, that's my take on it.
Who's winning the World Series?
The Twins.
Oh, yeah?
It's going to be the Blue Jays and the Mets.
The Blue Jays Blue Jays aren't even in playoff contention. Sorry to break that news to you guys.
It's going to be the
Mets are going to call
Pirates?
up Tebow.
Hey.
And actually, I don't even think the Blue Jays and the Mets could play in the World Series.
Are they both?
Because I think they're both National League teams.
It's going to be Red Sox, White Sox?
Nope, the Mets are, or the Blue Jays are American League.
They are American.
I thought the Mets were American League.
I think it's going to be...
It's going to be Red Sox, White Sox.
The Astros versus the Braves.
It actually could be, too.
Yeah, White Sox.
I know.
I actually know it couldn't be the White Sox because they're out of playoff contention.
Hey.
But their pitcher... Their pitcher in Chicago right now, the White Sox pitcher, he's really good.
But they're out of playoff. They literally
No. I know.
Yeah.
I know they're not making the playoffs, but
Yeah.
I don't want to call him out. He's doing good.
So it's going to be the Blue Jays and the Rays, the Rays and the Jays.
The Rays and the Jays.
Rays and Jays.
They'll play a couple of days.
Yeah. 7, I think, actually.
Oh, wow.
Actually, I think it's 14 because they play every other day.
Oh, yeah. Mine just going to show up like that.
Actually, I think there's a couple breaks in there, too.
Should we take a quick pause here?
Why?
We gotta rank the QBs still.
By the way, if you are in the Sioux Falls area and you want to join a volleyball team, message the pod to find out how to get snuck into a collegiate volleyball team.
And how can they message the pod, Brendan?
They can hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
I hate the order you did that in.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know why. I have to say Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. That's my...
I forgot Instagram.
Hit us up on Tumblr. You're on Tinder, you see us.
Hey,
We're on
we
Tinder.
have
We're on
both.
Tinder.
We have both. We have a Tumblr too.
We do?
What did you
Yeah.
put our gender on Tinder?
Hold on, when did we get a
Unspecified,
Tumblr?
of course.
What,
Is that
it's
actually an
Tumblr.
option? I don't actually know, and I'm on Tinder.
What?
When did we get a Tumblr?
We got a Tumblr when
Oh, we have a
said,
YouTube channel too.
Yeah, when it said that we could. And what's the link, Brendan? Or what's the user for all of that?
SighSquadPod.
SighSquadPod.
So,
Oh, now we can do the quarterback.
yeah, now it's the
Nice.
quarterback. So that was a good break, guys. I like catching up with you guys. That's nice.
Wait,
Anyway, quarterback rankings. Obviously, we've done this segment a bunch. This is the final one, though.
This is
For
the
football.
final
For football.
NFL rankings.
So, if you love our segment, I'm sorry. We'll probably do it again with a different sport, so come back, please. We miss you. All right, quarterback rankings.
All right.
What do you want to do? What was it, top to bottom?
Oh, okay.
No, let's
Top-
start in the middle.
Top 5 quarterbacks.
No, let's start in the middle.
All
In
right.
no order.
In no particular order. Breeze, Wilson, Rivers, Brady, Rodgers.
That might actually be in order.
Yeah,
Anyways.
I think it was. What do you guys think? Is that an okay top 5?
No, because technically the guy that is the very first one in the next category is tied with Rodgers.
That's
No,
not.
he's
No, he's
He's
not.
not?
No,
No.
we went over this.
We did?
Yes. You asked that question to me and I said no.
Oh.
Because Patrick Mahomes got a 1.5 and
Come on,
Rodgers
pay
got
attention.
1.25.
You just spoiled it, Ben.
Well,
Anyway,
starting a B category then.
yeah,
But
B category.
I disagree with the order, but I like the top 5.
Yeah, I
Like,
do too.
As a group, that top 5 is
Yeah.
the top 5.
Yeah, so B category. Still really good quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes, Matt Ryan, Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, Baker Mayfield.
Solid.
Most of those are young guys, not including Matt Ryan. All of them are on potentially playoff teams. All of them have good weapons around them. Man, good quarterbacks. C category is really the middle bunch. You know, they're not going to be the reason you win, not the reason you lose kind of quarterbacks. They're there, and they're not like, you're not like happy they're there, but you're not like disappointed that they're your quarterback.
I disagree, actually. I think these are the games that may not win you every single game, but they won't lose you a game.
Yeah.
That's what he just said.
No.
Yeah.
But I feel like they will win you games.
That's,
Yeah.
but that's
They
what he
can.
said. The guys who aren't the... Oh, I guess it is.
He said
kind
they're
of-
not going to win you games, and they're not going to lose you games.
I mean, I guess that's close.
Realistically, I feel like you described their D tier better. Because some of these guys I would actively want.
Oh, we gotta say our
Alright.
C tier first, bro.
Well, yeah. So C tier, Matt Stafford. He's a classic. Cam Newton.
Former MVP.
He was good
What a
a couple
bitch.
years ago. Remember him? Jacoby Brissett, which
Hey,
I don't know how he got this high, but Andy Luck's replacement.
congrats to your starting job.
Big Ben Roethlisberger, another classic old guy. Joe Flacco, another classic old guy.
We forgot somebody in B tier.
Who did we forget in B tier?
Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson. Pretend he was after.
Patrick Mahomes.
No, he'd be
Jared
after,
Goff.
No, he'd actually be...
between Ryan and Goff, right?
Yeah.
He's a straight 2.
Yeah, which is Ryan's also straight too. So pretend after Matt Ryan, we said Deshaun Watson, great young quarterback, Texans. Keep going though. Joe Flacco, now in Denver. Derek Carr trying to come back alive on the Raiders. Got Antonio Brown. Maybe that will help. Maybe it won't. Jimmy Garoppolo, who's been disappointing so far in San Fran, really hasn't put a full season in, so we'll see. Josh Allen, Marcus Mariota, and Dak Prescott. All 3 rookie guys. All have had their troubles.
Well, Dak's not a rookie.
Well, they're all younger guys, I meant, sorry. They all have had their troubles.
Only one of those guys was a rookie this last year.
No,
I just was gonna let Mariota just fly by. I was like, rookie? Yeah, sure.
that means they're all young guys.
Yeah, I get it.
Oh yeah, and then our D tier.
D tier.
There-
D tier.
We all said
Our
it.
So
D tier.
our D tier is Kyler Murray, Mitch Trubisky, Lamar Jackson, Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, famous James Winston, and RG3.
So, Kyler Murray being on this list, normally we don't like to do rookies, but we weren't going to put Brett Hundley for Arizona, and we like to have every team represented. But I feel like Kyler Murray is probably one of the players that could end up raising his stock from this. Like, he could end up rising above the D tier.
Yeah. Sorry, we got distracted. Duncan caught a fly with his bare hands. Ethan started talking about Ryan Fitzpatrick, who'd be an F tier.
Ryan Fitzmagic is...
He definitely deserves D tier.
Ryan
He
Fitzmagic
got 3.75. He's right there.
Ryan
Why
Fitz-
wasn't he on
We
the...
just forgot him. He'd be in D. Yes, he'd be an F tier.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what is our F tier?
So this is the bottom of the barrel.
I have no idea how the fuck this first guy is bottom of the barrel.
Kirk Cousins, $84 million guarantee. He's bad.
Even the second guy, I don't know how he's this low.
I don't know if Nick Foles got this low either. I mean, we don't know. I guess what he's gonna do on the Jags. He's kind of a question mark.
I think that's maybe why.
Maybe Andy Dalton.
I feel like if the Jags still had another guy in this F tier, and Nick Foles just replaced him halfway through the season, he'd do a lot better.
Anyway, Andy Dalton, Red Rifle. Bengals always have something wrong with them. They're never. When were they good last?
2016 when
Oh,
Montez Burfict hit Antonio Brown. Knocked him
that
out.
was a while. Blake Bortles, the old.
That's where it all changed. That's why he wants the helmet.
Yep.
Whoa.
Blake Bortles, the old Jags quarterback. Now the backup for the Rams. Eli Manning, soon to be back up with the Giants.
Soon to be retired.
Case Keenum, who's still in the NFL, and our last guy, the worst quarterback in the NFL, is not even
in
playing. Colin Kaepernick.
Not even in the NFL.
But if he was in the NFL,
He'd be the bottom.
if he got signed to a team, do you really think he'd be that low?
Yes.
You don't
Yes.
think he'd be any
No.
better than like even
Nope.
Eli Manning?
No.
Depends on the system.
Nope. We actually have a 3-way tie for last place then, because then it's. Well, wait, what did Blake Bortles get? Yeah, no, it's a 3-way tie between Eli Manning, Case Keenum, and Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Oh, you guys didn't say the thing about Kyler Murray. We had to put him on here.
We did.
I literally.
Brendan literally
just
said that.
did.
Oh, I zoned out.
Yeah, so the worst 3 quarterbacks tied is Case Keenum, Eli Manning, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Don't add us.
Ryan Fitzpatrick is the greatest con artist in NFL history.
Hey, it's Fitzmagic.
It really is.
Anyways, so I think somebody that's overrated on this list, just Jared Goff. Not because I don't think he's good, and not because I don't think he has the potential to be better. I just don't see him up there with Matt Ryan, Mahomes, and Baker, and then Carson Wentz.
I think so. I think Jared Goff, he's obviously come a long way. Remember his fucking dumpster fire of a
Well, I
rookie
think
season?
that's the problem is you don't know what you're going to get out of him in a career in the sense.
Well, he has an offensive line.
I think he's been going up. I think he had the first year struggles. Obviously,
No O-line.
No O-line. Is that
Yeah,
what they
but the
brought in?
offensive line got warts this year.
But
They lost
isn't
Super
after
Bowl.
that first year they brought Sean McVay, and he's been good with Sean McVay.
That's true.
Sean McVay, he's been
So a system quarterback.
Well, yeah, but still, he's playing the Rams system. He's gonna have Todd Gurley and who's their backup? That's okay. Not C.J. Anderson, but basically C.J. Anderson. Not Mark Ingram.
Cooper Farrow.
No, the backup running back.
I don't know.
That's a great question.
Honestly, Cooper Farrell probably could play running back for him.
He's like Mark Ingram, C.J. Anderson.
Just keep spelling and I'll look it up.
Anyway, yeah, and he's got Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks, Cooper Kupp, Farrah Cooper. He's a great team around him. His defense is phenomenal. Aaron Donald's the best player in the NFL.
Actually, I don't know who you're talking about because they do not have like a big name backup.
Who's their backup?
Their backup would be Malcolm Brown, or
Really?
John Kelly, or Justin Davis.
I thought didn't they have one? Or am I completely crazy? Oh no, they had C.J. Anderson last year. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you were like, it's not C.J. Anderson.
And it doesn't because I know he's on the line.
But realistically, I feel like Jared Goff is actually like right where he belongs. Because I feel like for the next years to come, including this next one, he's going to be a solid quarterback.
I'm not saying he's not going to be solid, but
I feel like he's going to be better than Matt Stafford, and he's the top of the next tier.
Yeah.
So
I think a good way to put it is this is his peak. He'll never break that elite spot. Like this is where he will always sit if he ever gets put this high again. You know?
guess.
I think he could go up higher if he has an amazing season.
Jared Goff is so young. He could this so-called peak that you think could just be halfway up the mountain.
See, but here's the thing: is like this as a peak isn't bad because this is still like
Yeah.
your job is secure even if you have like a bad season.
The thing though about our top 5 is they're kind of older guys. They don't. You don't got any young guys. One of those guys.
The youngest guy on that list is Russell Wilson, who
who's
is a mobile quarterback and could retire early.
How old is he? 34?
32.
32, something like that.
Yeah.
Rodgers is 35. Rivers, Breeze, and Brady are all 40. So
Rivers
40
is 40?
plus.
yeah, I'm pretty sure he is.
Brady's 42.
Rivers is turning
Breeze is
40.
Breeze is 40 or
41.
41.
41, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. But still, if let's say give it 3 or 4 years, if you see Rivers, Breeze, or Brady go, one of those next guys, you can see Wentz, you can see Mayfield get better, go up. You see Jared Goff go up, maybe.
In 3 or 4 years, this list is going to be completely different.
Yeah.
Like, we could even see Kyler Murray end up in that top spot because
or we could be who?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Who's that?
Johnny
Or
Manziel?
Tua Tagovailoa.
Who?
What?
probably
Tua Tagovailoa.
You mean,
you're talking about Clemson.
Cardinals' first-round draft pick next year?
Hey,
There you
go.
Sam Darnold is another name that could go up, but at the same time, he does play for the Jets.
That's true.
So
I think the most overrated player on this list is easy. I think it's Jacoby Brissett. I think Jacoby Brissett is going to struggle. Is going to be the nicest way to put it in Colts.
Ben,
what?
We're just sad for Colts fans.
Look, I know.
So we're
we're
just
sad for
trying
Colts
to be
fans.
really
but look at that
optimistic
division.
Well, what's interesting because he's not saying he's not even going to do like decent. He's saying he's going to struggle.
Yeah,
which
I
is
think
the
he's
interesting
definitely
take
not
on
going
it.
to
Well,
do
I
that.
I want to hear what Ben says. Because,
I mean, so Eric Ebron, the top target, he hasn't worked much with him. T.Y. Hilton is very inconsistent with his injuries. I think the Colts offense, they need more linemen. That's a problem. You look at the division. You got Texans is a hard defense, secondary.
yeah, but their offense
And the Jags is a bad defense to play. And even the Titans secondary has some kick to it.
But you could argue the
like
Colts
Bird.
offensive line's a top 5 offensive line in the league.
Or Byard.
Yeah, I don't think there's gonna be enough room right off the bat. I don't think Jacoby Brissett, at least this year, this next coming season, he's not gonna win more than 5 or 6 games.
Interesting take.
Very interesting take.
I mean, I've heard other people say that. It's just interesting.
Well, it's me to pick a overrated player.
Or an underrated player. Go for it.
So an underrated player, I feel, is actually going to be Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, chill in that D category.
Yeah, because he actually had a way better season last year. That like names like Jimmy Garoppolo, Derek Carr, Josh Allen, all above him, and I feel like his team hasn't gotten worse, and I feel like it's either sidestepped or gotten minorly improved on the offensive side of the ball, because losing Jordan Howard obviously is a big deal, but at the same time, Mitchell Trubisky and Tariq Cohen kind of have this interesting chemistry.
And he has the new running back too, David Montgomery. They've been talking a lot about.
I guess my one argument for him being okay here, and it's not even necessarily his fault, but it's more so the fact that like the Bears just don't need him to win.
No.
In the sense that like their defense is what carries that team.
Yeah.
Khalil
So
Mack.
But even just in general, because I mean, you guys have good players like Kyle Fuller, Eddie Goldman, Roquan Smith. You guys drafted him last year. Like you guys have good all-around pieces on defense. So as long as Trubisky doesn't play bad, you guys are still gonna win. So he's never had to take that like, we're down by.
He's never had to carry the team.
We're down by 3 touchdowns at halftime. All right, I need to rally the team. Like the Bears defense just doesn't go down 3 touchdowns. So therefore, Trubisky, and like I said, that's not necessarily Trubisky's fault that they have such a great defense, but it's just one of those things where it's hard to say like how much he needs that step up to be a better quarterback than where he's at. But that's just my take on it.
So I actually just looking at this list, I have an overrated player.
Alrighty.
Can I talk about Bears really quickly?
Yeah.
I think the Bears defense is going to be really good this season. I think it's going to be top 5. I don't think it's going to be quite as good as last year. I think obviously Khalil Mack coming out of nowhere in the Bears, he kind of threw a lot of teams off, and he played amazingly. I think giving him time to prepare and then game playing more against Chicago's defense, because it was brand new last year. And I just think like they had a fantastic season last year. It's hard for defenses to repeat that.
That's true. That is very true.
But I feel like Khalil Mack is still a great player.
They're going to be a top 5 defense. They're just not going to be like the super special, amazing defense was last year.
Well, the same thing happened to the Vikings 2 years ago. Like their defense was good last year, but 2 years ago they were a top 3.
Yeah.
And then this last year they were top
and
10.
They did lose Adrian Amos, who was a big playmaker on that defense.
They is I think his name. I'm missing the guy's name. I'm really bad at names today.
That's just, I still think
Clinton Dix is who you got, if that's who you were looking for.
Is he on the Bears now?
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I was thinking of Eddie Jackson.
Yeah, but he's the other safety.
Eddie Jackson.
But I thought you meant as the
playing
replacement for
phenomenal.
Ramos.
Yeah, so,
But,
like, I
I
still
mean,
I still
Maha
think
is a good replacement too.
I still think they're going to be a good defense. I just think it'd be quite as a special. I don't think the Chiefs are going to have a special offense. They're going to be good offense, but it's not going to be the special magical fairy tale one that was last year.
That's fair. Anyways, you can get to your
My underrated player.
overrated. I thought.
Oh, sorry, overrated player. He's a former MVP.
Cam Newton.
His name is Cam Newton.
Yeah,
Cam Newton's overrated.
obvious.
He's
Dude.
the second biggest crybaby in the NFL.
But I mean, look at the people he's around. He's by Joe Flacco, Ben Roethlisberger, Derek Carr, Jimmy G, and Jacoby Brissett. That's not a good group.
I mean,
I think
I
that's
could
where
make an
he's-
argument that Ben Roethlisberger can go down too, but
Roethlisberger.
I said what I said on purpose.
I don't think. I think he's right where he belongs. I think he's definitely worse than Matt Stafford. But
But I honestly feel like Mitchell Trubisky, Sam Darnold, even I actually am still for Famous Jameis, right? I will still defend Famous James. I feel like he's better. Those three are better than Cam Newton,
Really?
Ben Roethlisberger.
I don't think so. I think Cam Newton's he's still a veteran starting quarterback. A lot of these young guys are still trying to figure themselves out.
But also, we have to take into account that this is for the next season.
Yeah.
Cam Newton is already injured
Is he?
with a foot injury.
Oh yeah, you're right. Huh.
Is he?
I
Yeah,
don't
he
know.
got
I think he'll
Who
be
cares?
out the first,
against
the first
Patriots.
2 or 3 weeks.
I don't know, man.
Hmm.
It's Cam Newton. Who cares? Nobody follows him.
So-
Cam Newton follows him.
Who do you got, Ethan? Overrated.
Yeah, mine's interesting. I actually did a little statistical roundup
I
that
like
you guys
it.
can't see. So I'm gonna compare players. 3 players for you guys.
Alrighty. Who are these
I
3
mean, obviously, you guys see who my overrated and underrated are, but I want you guys to hear their statistics.
players? Alrighty.
Okay, so player 1 finished their season with 4,298 yards, 30 touchdowns, 10 interceptions
Oh, that's good. That's
on a
fan-
70% completion percentage.
Good.
It's okay. It's kind of high for interceptions.
Player 2, a 62.3 completion percentage
Yeah.
Great,
for
great, great.
4,400 yards,
Hmm.
25 touchdowns and 2 interceptions.
Oh, nice.
That's
nice.
Aaron
Very
Rodgers.
good. Very good.
And then player 3
That was Aaron Rodgers.
had a
Wow,
69
he's so
had a 69% completion ratio for 3,000 yards, 21 touchdowns and 7 interceptions.
Yeah, but see, was the first one Kirk Cousins?
It was.
Yeah, see, the yards were fine. The picks, 10 picks was obviously the most picks on that list.
But here's the thing: player 3 only started 11 games, so he had 7 interceptions across 11 games.
Man,
compared to
you
Kirk
did
Cousins
such a-
had 16.
You have
Which
such
one
a
was that?
clever way of doing that.
Player 3 was Carson Wentz, who we had all the way up in the B tier.
That was so clever. Wow.
yeah, but Aaron Rodgers and Carson Wentz can both and did carry their team last year.
Not to mention Aaron Rodgers,
Well-
that was one of his lowest completion percentage ratings.
It was, but he did have a good touchdown to pick was good, percentage was good,
Yep.
and his yards were okay. It was his lowest completion percentage, obviously, with our new transitioning offense, losing pieces, and all. We started pretty much all rookies all last year for receiver, but still, would you rather have Aaron Rodgers or Kirk Cousins on your team?
I mean, at the end of the day, I'd easily take Kirk Cousins. But what I'm trying to get at...
Wait.
Or, sorry, I'd rather have Aaron Rodgers. Sorry.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to get at is the fact that Kirk Cousins is all the way in that F tier category. He had a better completion percentage than Aaron Rodgers, who Aaron Rodgers is supposed to be a top 5 quarterback. Aaron Rodgers should be able to get it done forever. Look at Tom Brady. Tom Brady gets it done every year with a new set of receivers, no matter who it is.
That's true.
Carson Wentz had a worse touchdown to interception ratio than Kirk Cousins did in less games.
What was Carson Wentz's touchdown in?
He had a 5.2 to a 5 compared to Kirk Cousins.
Okay.
So, and that was would have been the ratio had Carson Wentz done the whole year. Because obviously, when you look at it this way, they both had 3 touchdowns and 1 interception, but obviously Carson Wentz only played 11 games, so you got to take that into effect. But yeah, even the lower completion percentage, it just shows Kirk Cousins should easily at least be in that C category where, Ben was saying he's not necessarily the guy that you blame for losing.
Yeah.
But he's not the guy you blame for winning, because the reason the Vikings struggled so much last year is because literally every single player on defense took a step back. Like, everybody did. Xavier Rhodes didn't have a good year. Everson Griffin obviously missed. I think it was 8 or 9 games. With his health issues. Danielle Hunter and Harrison Smith were probably the 2 consistent players last year. Yeah. So when your defense takes that big of a step back, it makes it hard because Kirk Cousins wasn't asked to come in and score 40 points a game. That's not what he was asked to do. Just look at Case Keenum. The reason Case Keenum was so successful in Minnesota had a top 3 defense. Yeah. I.e. the Bears with Mitchell Trubisky. Case Keenum didn't have to win us a game,
I think one of the reasons why Carson Wentz and Aaron Rodgers are higher is you go up to Carson Wentz and Aaron Rodgers third quarter, you say, we need to win this game. They will carry you. Carson Wentz, they will ball out. You can't. I don't see the Vikings going, hey, Kirk Cousins, do you think you can bail us out of this game?
See, no. But then here's the other problem: is Carson Wentz has never played a full season.
Well, that's true. We're talking about next season.
So let's get week 13. You got Kirk Cousins, who's healthy. Hey. You go in there. Kirk Cousins is going to be more likely to do something than
because Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz.
You put him in. Carson Wentz, goes all in on the fourth quarter comeback type of deal. He gets hurt. Now you're relying on your backup quarterback to win you that game.
I could maybe see the comparison about Carson Wentz maybe being potentially a little bit overrated. I could see him dropping down into that C category just because of the injuries. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I am going to agree with Ben when it comes to Aaron Rodgers. Because
definitely. No. I'm not
Aaron Rodgers.
Arizona fans are mad because of Aaron Rodgers. Cowboys fans are mad because of Aaron Rodgers.
I put Rodgers into that outlier just to show even divisional comparison. The Vikings had to play the Bears twice. The Vikings had to play the Vikings and the Packers played all the same teams except 2. Yeah. We played the same teams. Statistically, you could argue Kirk Cousins had a better statistical season than Aaron Rodgers did. Granted, Kirk Cousins also has Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen, Kyle Rudolph, but you also got to look at the fact that our offensive line is horrible. Kirk Cousins is not a mobile quarterback.
Rodgers was hurt for most of the entire season because of Khalil Mack.
Still played all 16 games.
That's true.
And like I said, definitely not saying Aaron Rodgers needs to be out of that A category. He definitely deserves to be top 5 quarterback. I'm just saying I could easily see Carson Wentz being a C. Kirk Cousins should easily be a D at least. Because he's not the reason you're going to lose your game.
Yeah, I can see. I think the reason why he got put so low is just because he's Kirk Cousins and he's a meme. And we all gave him threes and 1-4. And he's Kirk Cousins.
I mean, yeah, because like I said, even I gave him a 3. Like I said, he deserves a 3. Now, granted, him getting a 4, I don't think he... when you put it side by side, you look at it. I mean, you just go down the list. Yeah, you could maybe make an argument you'd rather have Nick Foles over Kirk Cousins. Yeah. Maybe you can make the argument for Andy Dalton over Kirk Cousins. But you cannot tell me you'd rather have Kirk Cousins over last year's Blake Bortles. Or you'd rather have last year's Blake Bortles over Kirk Cousins. Yeah. You wouldn't rather have Kirk Cousins over Eli Manning any day of the week. Last year.
Yeah, that's looking at the F category. There's D category people who are
RG3 didn't play a single snap last year.
Yeah, but he's funny because he's RG3.
He's RG3.
We're if you look at the D category or D and C, where you think he might go, I'd rather have Jimmy G. I'd rather have Marcus Mariota. I'd rather have Dak Prescott. I'd rather have Mitch Trubisky. I'd rather have Josh Rosen. I'd rather have Jameis Winston.
I wouldn't rather have Jameis Winston.
I'd definitely take Kirk Cousins over Jameis Winston.
I'd definitely take Kirk Cousins over Josh Rosen.
I'd take him over
again, those are the bottom of the D tier. If you just look at it that way, there's not that many. If you look at the people above him, most of them I would rather take over Kirk Cousins.
I'd take Kirk Cousins over
Derek
Carr.
I'd rather have Kyler Murray because he's younger.
I'd take Kirk Cousins over Derek Carr.
Yeah, maybe Carr.
Carr's all the way in the C category.
Somehow.
So,
I take... Again, I would... This is easily an argument you can make. I'd rather take Cousins over Flacco. Flacco hasn't had too good of years over the last 3 years. I mean,
Flacco's always done good enough, though.
So is Kirk Cousins. It's the fact that...
Were the Vikings close to making the playoffs?
Yes.
How close?
They were 8-7-1. It was because the Eagles won the last week. The Vikings needed the Eagles to lose to go to the playoffs.
Okay.
Good job, Eagles.
And we were only 8-7-1 because Daniel Carlson fucked the Vikings over week 2 when he missed 3 field goals against the Packers.
Well, that's they were close to making the Raiders.
They would right? So essentially they should be 9-17.
Do they have good receivers?
Yes.
Do you know what Joe Flacco didn't have that last year in Baltimore? Good receivers.
He had Rashad Perryman and Michael Crabtree and
Michael Crabtree is
Okay.
he's always clutch.
Again, like I
but-
said, you can make the argument for Flacco over Cousins.
Yeah.
You easily could.
But that's
But-
why he would deserve to be up there.
That's why, and
Yeah.
that's all the way in the C category. You have to you're trying to make the
Yeah.
argument for it, which
Well,
means
that's just 2 of the C category. I think
I'd rather have Kirk Cousins over Stafford. You can't tell me
no,
Stafford has.
I would rather have Stafford.
I'd have Stafford.
Stafford has arm power.
I'd rather have Stafford, Newton, not Brissett, Big Ben, Flacco, Jimmy G, Josh Allen, Mariota, Prescott over.
See, but Mariota's on the fringe of losing his job.
Well,
Dak Prescott's
Well, that's
one of the
because
most.
the Titans ended up getting a lucky bounce and having 2 starting quarterbacks as in their roster for dirt cheap.
So you're telling me you'd rather have Ryan Tannehill manning your offense than Kirk Cousins? Tannehill's another Carson Wentz thing. You can't rely on him to be there. Week 16, your team needs to get to the playoffs.
That's the thing, is he's with Mariota. So if one of them's injured, the other's just gonna come in. They're about the same level. That's why the Titans have a random.
And again, like I said, I'm not trying to say any of these guys need to be bumped down, but I just don't get how Kirk Cousins gets that low, with the sense that because I'd easily take Cousins over any guy in the D category.
If we were talking
besides
about
Lamar Jackson,
talking about Kirk Cousins on the Redskins, I would be 100% fine.
But why is it the Redskins? The Vikings have a way vast superior.
But Kirk Cousins was statistically better on the Redskins.
But I just showed you guys statistics lined up against Aaron Rodgers, Carson Wentz.
But
Kirk Cousins had the best statistics out of all 3 of them.
I know, but he was better on the Redskins. Kirk Cousins could be up higher, but he hasn't been as good. He was promised to be really good. He was great on the Redskins. He put up 5,000 yards last season. He played 5,000 yards. Anyway, he was good. They paid him a lot of money to be good, and he's mediocre, and people are pissed about it.
Yeah, that's mediocre.
It's the money. Is that what's causing you to be in that category?
He's like
because again, Nick Foles
take money out of all of this. Andrew Luck, right? He got paid all that money. He would have been in the.
Andrew Luck would have been probably top of B or bottom A.
Yeah,
but if you take the money into the sense of Andrew Luck's contract, he would deserve a D.
Yeah,
he is like the 6th highest paid quarterback. He had 1 good year. He's had 1 good year over the last 5 years because he hasn't been healthy.
Well, if you take it when he's healthy, though, he's really good. And we're not. He stayed healthy last year for most of it, so he could be healthy.
You take money into consideration. Ryan Tannehill. When you look at his contract breakdown, he is like the 12th highest paid quarterback in the National Football League.
Yeah.
Are you telling me he deserves to be up there with Baker Mayfield, Carson Wentz, and Jared Goff?
No.
So you take money into the effect. Again, $84
million. That would change everything, because then I'd put Patrick Mahomes way up there because he's getting paid $4 million a year.
And then also here's the other way you got to look at it. If you are taking money into consistent,
we're not taking money. We're taking the fact he was a disappointment with the Vikings. Vikings expected
because
more
of the money.
No, here's the thing. Was Kirk Cousins a disappointment or the Vikings a disappointment? Because
the whole thing's disappointment.
The Vikings were the disappointment. Kirk Cousins wasn't the disappointment. Kirk
Cousins is not as good as he was on the Redskins.
I don't know.
Well,
because again, 70% completion rating. That was almost 8% better than Aaron Rodgers, and they both started 16 games.
Yeah, but we're not talking about Redskins and Vikings. Kirk Cousins. He was better on the Redskins than he was on the Vikings.
Well, if you're still listening to them argue, how about you tell us what you think on Twitter at SighSquadPod? But I'll go to a guy that I think is drastically underrated on here, and he was kind of brought up, Lamar Jackson.
I definitely 100% agree with.
Think he deserves to be way above the D tier. I could see him. I would take Lamar Jackson probably over Carson Wentz. I would take him over Cam Newton, Matthew Stafford, Jacoby Brissett.
Easy.
You have not named a single guy I would take.
Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
I'd take him over Joe Flacco. Obviously, the Ravens did.
Lamar Jackson has played.
Garoppolo. I'd take him over everybody except for Dak Prescott in the same tier.
How many games has Lamar Jackson started?
9, I want to say.
Yeah, I think it was 9.
In those 9 games, was he better than Carson Wentz statistically?
Yes, because Carson Wentz wasn't playing.
Carson Wentz only played 11 games.
Total.
That's why the comparison's there. Because that's
Again, though,
two-game
but then here's the thing: Lamar Jackson did this because Flacco sucked. Lamar Jackson carried that team into the playoffs.
We need to see more of Lamar Jackson. I just don't think he's proven yet. I think give him a full season as a starter and give him reign to do his run around.
But
whatever.
Okay, then how is Baker so far up there?
How is Jimmy Garoppolo even so far up there? Jimmy Garoppolo has literally not started a full 16-game season as a starter. I think Jimmy Garoppolo's played 18 games in his career.
I think Jimmy Garoppolo has played more games than Lamar Jackson. And whoever rated, we all agreed that Jimmy Garoppolo, we have more hope for him than Lamar Jackson this year. Like, what was with Lamar Jackson? It was 2, 3, 3, 4.
I gave Garoppolo a 3, and I gave Lamar Jackson a 3.
I also gave both of them a 3.
I gave him a
2.
Lamar a 2,
And
Jimmy
Brendan-
a 3.
I gave Jimmy a 2 and Lamar a
4.
4.
Why did you give Lamar a 4?
Because he doesn't have faith in Lamar. That's okay. I don't have faith in him either. I honestly could see him walk out week 1 and just destroy his ACL. And I wouldn't even...
If Lamar Jackson was not on our list of running backs, he would be a 1. But he's not. He's on our list of quarterbacks.
And that's what I'm kind of hoping. I'm glad Duncan put him as underrated. Because what I'm hoping is he shows everybody this year as a full 16-game starter that he is a quarterback.
And not just a running back.
And not just running back. He'll throw for like 4,000 yards and then rush for like another 800. Have like 40 touchdowns on the year.
I feel like the way that Lamar Jackson has like the best season of his career is if he does exactly the same as Tim Tebow.
Yeah, but I would say they
The
are very
big Tebow year.
They were very different quarterback styles, even though they're both mobile. Because Tebow as a runner, as a mobile quarterback, was a physical runner, like a downhill runner. When Lamar Jackson relies more on his speed and agility.
I think a good comparison to Lamar Jackson is Deshaun Watson. But I think Deshaun Watson's a better passer than Lamar Jackson personally. But I think the run style they're very, very similar. And Deshaun Watson was because Deshaun Watson tore his ACL his first year, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he came back this year, and when he started too, there was the same concerns: is he durable? Is he gonna be able to run a lot? Is that gonna work?
But he was able to take the Texans to the playoffs.
Yeah, but it took him obviously 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Lamar did it in 9 games.
Yeah.
He's played 2 years. He's had that extra experience. We don't know. He's more predictable than Lamar Jackson, I think. That's why he's higher.
But I think as an upside point of view, Lamar Jackson is easy. I think he has more upside than a lot of guys above him. I think he has a better upside than a guy like Jared Goff. I think he has a better upside than a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo.
I don't think so.
Jared Goff
better
Jared
than
Goff
Josh
is going to have
Allen.
a Super Bowl season within the next 3 years.
Yeah.
See, but here's the thing: you take Jared Goff out of Sean McVay's offense, you don't know what he's going to do
because you take Lamar Jackson out of Baltimore.
No, that's the thing: is you take him out of Baltimore, he could still do good because he's a mobile quarterback.
Okay, sure. If you take him out of Baltimore and put him as a running back.
Well, I think the reason Lamar Jackson
perfect comparison. Sorry, perfect comparison. I didn't mean to cut you off. Look at Michael Vick.
Yeah,
because that is probably the closest person that from past speed running backs. That didn't necessarily rely on their size. Michael Vick did it in Atlanta and he did it in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
so you can do it as a mobile quarterback in 2 different offenses.
The reason Lamar Jackson is so low is because Brendan and me, we don't have faith in him yet. We don't know. We're not 100% sold on Lamar Jackson.
But then why did you put Baker so high?
Because you put Baker just as high as we did.
Yeah.
For the same, we believe more in Baker than Lamar Jackson.
I put Baker really high because Baker is surrounded with weapons. He has all the supports to do good.
I think Baker's going to have a better season than Lamar Jackson. That's why I put him higher.
Okay.
Baker actually just...
I mean, he does have OBJ and Jarvis Landry, which is a good
I'm not arguing.
He could be blindfolded and still throw it and end up getting the same amount of touchdowns.
And then my final comment is more for Brendan then, is why do you put guys like Brissett higher and Jimmy Garoppolo higher?
So
Brissett has not started a game in 2 years, and Garoppolo
he started last year, buddy.
He did?
Yeah, Andrew Luck got hurt in the beginning of the season.
But anyways, you look at Garoppolo. You look at Garoppolo, or even just look at Josh Allen. Josh Allen has way less weapons in Buffalo than Lamar Jackson does in Baltimore.
Baltimore
And his
receivers.
offensive line is way
Brandon,
worse.
Google Baltimore receivers real quick.
Willie Snead is one of them. They have
Is he still there?
Hayden Hurst. They have Hayden Hurst and Nick Boyle as 2 tight ends. They have another Mark Andrews, a 3rd tight end. They have 3 great tight ends. Their running backs, easily a lot younger, a lot more faster. Sean McCoy's on the bubble in Buffalo. You lose your receiving back.
Mark Ingram isn't slow and isn't young
So
and fast.
their number 1 receiver is Marquise Brown.
Hollywood
Their
Brown, they
number
drafted
2
him in the
receiver-
first round.
Their number 2 receiver is a guy that has lost so many time, or lost so many out, play so much play time in the NFL because of DUIs in Michael
Who's it?
Floyd.
Oh yeah,
Michael Floyd is not their number 2. He's not going to line up as their number 2. Willie Snead will.
Willie Snead is only good because of Drew Brees.
Chris Moore, Michael Floyd,
Well, Chris
Seth
Moore is
Roberts.
Okay, here's the thing, though, is we brought it up earlier. Name 2 Buffalo Bills wide receivers outside of Cole Beasley.
Zay
Zay
Jones
Jones
and
and-
Charles Clay.
Charles Clay's in Arizona.
Don't tell him.
LaShawn McCoy counts.
I
We're
just said
counting-
LaShawn McCoy's on the bubble. He may not even make the team.
LaShawn McCoy is going to make the team.
There is literally talks that he's going to get cut before the end of this week.
Talk about a rough set of receivers for the Bills.
John Brown. It's not bad.
Willie Snead's better. Hollywood Brown for Baltimore. Hollywood Brown is the 3rd fastest receiver in the league.
Okay.
And again, their
I would say
Baltimore's
they both have really awful receivers.
Baltimore's offensive line is
I
way
take
better.
Baltimore's over the Bills, though.
I take Baltimore's offense in whole over Buffalo's.
Yeah, me too.
I could maybe take Josh Allen down.
See,
I'd be more willing to take Josh Allen down than to raise
Lamar
Jackson up though.
well, Duncan, let's hope they prove him wrong.
Yeah, he will too.
He will.
But do you know who I think is gonna have a good season?
Who?
What do you
His
think?
name's also Josh Allen, but the defensive Josh Allen.
The Bills too, right? I think he got drafted
Yeah.
to the Bills
No, I think he's on the. I thought he was somewhere.
because I think that was the joke because he went 6th overall.
I don't know.
I'm gonna double check. If you put in Josh, the first one that comes up is Gordon.
Wow, man.
Oh, he's for the Jaguars.
That's what I thought.
Anyways,
Well,
anything else
Where
we
were
need to
we?
talk about?
no, I think it's time to
Doing Mount Rushmore's?
wrap it up like we do every week.
Time to go on vacation.
So Andrew Luck retired
Obviously.
this last weekend here after a game.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, and we're like, all right. So there's so many athletes that have retired early, right?
Yeah.
NFL specific.
In the NFL. And I was watching SportsCenter with my favorite punter of all time, Pat McAfee, on there, discussing
Go Wonder Bread car.
how he is sides with Andrew Luck on retiring. Of course, Pat McAfee retired at the age of 29 as a punter. He could have gone another 10 years.
Easily.
I know we're trying to transition quickly
Yeah.
into do you see all when the fans booed him on the field?
That is
That
disrespectful.
is disrespectful.
But Pat McAfee also talked about that, and he was saying he thinks that was just their raw emotion. Because the fans feel like he's just giving up, right?
Here's the thing: is I'm not defending the fans at all. What they did was horrible. The only way I could see it is the fact that this is week 3.
Yeah, the preseason.
Yeah, it's a
preseason.
week and a half. If you would have done it at the beginning of training camp, nobody would care.
Yeah, exactly.
Or even
it would have been upsetting,
Yeah.
but
Even right before the preseason games.
because imagine your starting quarterback with Super Bowl aspirations for your team retiring a week before.
And it's funny because you see previous reports, literally beginning of this month, 2 weeks ago, he's talking about how he's ready for the season.
Yeah.
He's getting hyped. He's like, I'm ready. I'm going. This is going to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, exactly.
And they say he's been mulling it over for weeks. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
exactly.
We respect you, Andrew Luck. We respect your decision. Be healthy.
Yeah.
Have fun.
With
Spend
your
your
kids.
millions of dollars.
With that, great athletes in the NFL who retired early. I have Andrew Luck and Pat McAfee. 2 Colts, both retired. Younger than they should have. I understand why both of them did retire, but
Pat McAfee should come back.
he doesn't need to come back. He's the greatest of all time
But
already.
he can come be a kicker
He could.
and then kick 70 yards.
That would be crazy. But next
Oh,
I
we
got
didn't talk about that. That one female soccer player. That's one thing we should throw in quick. The female soccer
right.
player got invited for. She might be the first female NFL player in NFL history.
I knew it would be a
she
kicker.
was invited to be a kicker,
For
but
preseason.
she turned it down because it conflicted with her soccer games.
Oh.
Damn.
That's still pretty cool. She would have been the first female player in the NFL.
Yeah, that would have been really cool.
Anyway,
Let's
so
just hope she wouldn't have
Next
turned
I
out
got
Robert Aguayo.
Rob Gronkowski,
obviously Gronk retiring last year.
Uh,
How is he? 28, 29?
29, I believe,
29.
too.
I think he
Uh,
turns 30 by the end of this next
He
season.
definitely could go longer if he wanted to. I understand he doesn't need to when you're under Tom Brady for most of your career. For your
A ton of
career.
rings, yeah.
You get all those
3
rings.
rings
You
and-
don't really need.
He only really played in like 2 of those games though.
Yeah, but
Already
you
the
still
second
have-
greatest tight end of all time.
Yeah, you don't really need to play
If he would have
more.
kept playing though, he easily could have became the best.
I think he could
Yeah.
have challenged Tony Gonzalez, but I think I still would give the edge to Tony G.
Honestly,
But that's me.
I'm gonna. So the only like argument I really have with Gronk is if you look at just raw talent and what Gronk could do all.
Look at Tony G. He was 6'6", 260 pounds.
Yeah, but like Tony Gonzalez actually was not as efficient in the pass block game, or as Rob Gronkowski was.
Yeah, but
Rob Gronkowski
Tony
could block like a motherfucker.
But they
Yeah,
never
but
used
Tony
him to
Gon-
block.
Yes, they
They
did.
go out wide.
2017.
but Tony Gonzalez.
Sorry, 2018.
But Tony Gonzalez is a superior receiver.
Yeah, and he played longer and
Yeah.
more consistent and had less injuries.
Yeah, and Tony Gonzalez is the only tight end in top 10 in receiving receptions all time.
Antonio
No.
Gates is also in that.
Oh,
list.
Antonio
And
Gates
so
did.
is what's his tits?
Shannon Sharp,
No, Dallas.
Well,
Jason
Jason
Witten.
Witten. It's number 9.
who is back? Anyways,
Yeah, why do we argue about this? This is
I
not
don't
much
know. My final guy on my list
He
is
mentioned Gronk.
what?
Keep going.
You didn't say Megatron.
My final guy on this list is Megatron.
Yep.
He could easily come back. He could still come
He
back
still
and play
could
right
come
now.
Yeah.
I'd still probably put him top. One of the top.
Well,
He'd be top 15 for the
20s.
first couple weeks until he gets back into it. He
Yeah.
returns to Megatron form. Easily
Although
top.
he's also just taller than most DBs in the league, so he could come back
he can
and
jump.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
linebackers are getting faster anymore. That you put a guy like Anthony Barr, Darius Smith, or
I would love
CJ
to see
Mosley.
Anthony Barr run with Calvin Johnson.
That
I'm
would
not
be
saying,
crazy.
I'm not saying he
to see
could.
that.
I'm not saying he could.
but
But what I mean
realistically,
is-
you just throw it 8 feet in the air. Calvin Johnson's gonna be the only person that can reach it.
Anyway, we should keep moving on. We keep into sidetracked. So you finished with Megatron, right? Is that your
Yeah,
done?
Megatron is. So
I'll
I
go
got
ne- I'll go-
Luck, Gronk, McAfee, Megatron.
I'll go next. I also had Pat McAfee.
Oh,
Well, greatest
Go.
player of all time. Go.
go.
And Megatron. I'd love to, even as a
Oh.
Packers fan, I'd love to see
Fantastic.
Calvin Johnson come back. My other two, my first one is BJ Raji. I know it's kind of an obscure one. He was a great player on the Packers. He helped lead them to the Super Bowl, receiving that fumble. Yeah, I don't know. It was I think it was against Chicago.
Yes, it
Don't
was
fact
Cutler.
check me.
It was Cutler. I'm still upset about it.
Jay Cutler. He sadly had to step away, and we've really had that same gap at defensive tackle since. We really haven't been able to find. Kenny Clark's been good recently, but obviously took a while. And then my last one is considered arguably one of the best running backs of all time, Jim Brown. His 12,600 yards was the best until 84, I think, when Peyton beat it. And he only played until he was 29
Yeah.
and retired. He actually retired to become an actor, I think.
Yeah.
He wanted to be a more serious actor, so he retired from football.
That seems to be the age, though. 29.
Yeah, that's where they're not quite 30. They haven't hit that threshold yet, and they're packing up early.
Yeah.
Because that was Luck, Gronk, Jim Brown was that.
Pat McAfee.
Pat McAfee. I think Barry Sanders was 29. Don't.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
So
Megatron was 29 too, wasn't he? Or 28.
he just turned 30.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, I was gonna say I think he was 30.
But
29 basically.
so Ben, you were talking about one of the arguably greatest running backs in NFL history.
Jim Brown.
I'm also going to talk about one of the greatest running backs in NFL history,
Yeah.
Barry. Obviously, he hung up his cleats. He hung up his cleats a little early, and it's when you look at like greatest running backs of all time, there's so many arguments that can be made. And I almost feel like if Barry would have just kept playing, granted it's the same with Jim Brown. If he would have just kept playing, they would have better arguments. They would have like more concise arguments. But crazy player, Gronk, obviously Patriots fan. I was sad to see him go, but I kind of thought it might happen. Megatron is another one. DeMarco Murray.
Really?
Hey, DeMarco Murray.
I actually put him on there.
Like this one, I liked DeMarco Murray in Dallas, and I know that Dallas, he was kind of prepped to work in Dallas because he was a great O-line, Tony Romo.
But he even went to the Titans and had a way worse O-line. It was a good O-line, but it was way worse.
Don't worry about the Eagles. But he obviously in Dallas he was set up to success. Even like Alfred Morris next year, he came around in a good season. But obviously Titans at the end of his career got shut up by Derrick Henry, which I mean Derrick Henry, he's kind of like he's injured. He's consistently injured. There's always something wrong. It's a back or his foot hurts or something.
I won that trade. I mean, I got Ben on recording saying Derrick Henry inconsistent, so I won that trade.
But Geis is not better.
Geis is way more inconsistent.
Geis is more.
Geis has played one season.
Exactly.
Geis hasn't even played a season.
Exactly.
Geis is more inconsistent.
Anyways,
in a backfield.
We need to stop arguing.
Yeah, this is the longest episode we've ever had.
All right. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you, DeMarco Murray, because he was almost a 2,000-yard rusher with that Dallas line. I think
guess how old he was.
He was only like 27, wasn't he?
29.
Whoa!
Oh,
yeah, I mean, he was.
I told you, 29.
I think he ended that year with like 1,840 yards.
Yeah, the Dallas year.
Like, he only needed like one more game's worth of rushing to break, which would have been cool. I get to go last?
Yeah.
I never get to go last. Wow.
It's because I feel like we might have a potential meet.
Alrighty. Let's listen to your list.
All right. With Brendan, I do agree. Barry Sanders. He was gone too soon. I think the hardest part about that whole thing too is that was like the end of the like running back era. You know.
Yeah.
Like Barry Sanders was dominant in a time where there was like the run game was still active. You know, like it's hard to find a great running back now because it's such a pass heavy offense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, fucking Barry Sanders was, you know, a top player in the NFL regardless of position. I mean, the dude was insane on his feet. That's why I think, you know, he made my list. And then Megatron's my next guy. Obviously, both Lions. I kind of like to see it because I'm a Vikings fan, but it is sad because it almost sucks because it's like a waste of talent. It makes you wonder, had they been on better teams or had the opportunity to play for better teams, would have they stayed playing, you know? Because I do know there are reports that, you know, like Calvin Johnson, the Lions just kind of fell out.
Yeah.
That kind of pushed him to retire. Barry Sanders, you know, obviously they both played in Detroit their both whole careers, and look, they both retired early.
Yeah.
The last guy is somebody who hasn't been named yet, actually. That's Patrick Willis. You know, during his time, he was arguably the best linebacker in the league, regardless of inside outside. Like, he was an amazing linebacker. He was up there with Ray Lewis towards, you know, I mean, that's obviously the end of Ray Lewis's career, but I mean, Patrick Willis was like, he was a great defender, and that was kind of the, I don't know, I guess, Jenga piece. I feel like that kind of caused the 49ers to kind of tailspin a little bit, because obviously you lose your best linebacker, so it just kind of makes you have to rethink of what your defense is going to look like without your leader. So I think that kind of just sent them into a spiral downward. And my last guy, I know a lot of people are going to say he's not retired because he plays another sport now. That's Tim Tebow. I really wish he'd come back to football.
You know, nobody mentioned Bo Jackson.
I feel like Bo Jackson, I've said this before and I will stand by this, Bo Jackson is the most overrated football player of all time. Granted, he's the best athlete sports has ever seen. Yeah. But as a football player, he was the most overrated. I don't think he ever broke 1,000 yards in his career.
I don't think he did either.
I know he played like 4 seasons, and then he chose baseball. So
the other thing with Bo Jackson is I feel really bad for Marcus Allen during that time. Like, Marcus Allen, another guy that you don't spit at for when it
I
comes
said
to
one
running.
to Brett Carr like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, you did.
But Marcus Allen, incredible running back.
Yeah.
Had to fight for a roster spot because of Bo Jackson. And he had like 13, 14, 15,000 yard rushing year the year before Bo Jackson.
Well, I think the one thing a lot of people forget about Bo Jackson is Bo Jackson wasn't supposed to be a Raider. He went first overall in 1970, either 76, 77, or 78 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But he was like, I'm not going to play for you. He pulled a Eli Manning and was like, I'm not going to play for you guys if you draft me. He told the Buccaneers that. They drafted him.
He was actually 86.
It was the first overall pick to the Buccaneers.
Yeah, Jackson was the first
86.
overall pick. 86.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I thought you meant 86. But yeah.
No.
I mean, so, he wasn't even supposed to be, like Oakland. Because I think he went like 6th round to Oakland. But I mean, I do agree with Brennan. Like, Marcus Allen was kind of pushed to the side. And then I think he got traded to Kansas City. But I think Bo Jackson is wildly overrated. Now, granted, again, that just might be the Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson effect where he goes to the right team. Maybe he stays with football, but I've had a lot of hot takes tonight.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think it's been a good episode, but I think we should wrap it up.
Yeah, we should definitely wrap it up.
It's a long one.
Yeah, longest one ever.
Yeah.